story. This is a story that I heard from a Rabbi Buket from Chicago. And I heard the story, I don't know, must have been 5 years ago, 7 years ago, I don't remember. Anyway, so he told a story about his father. You know what? I'll tell two stories. There's two stories. You'll get your wish, okay? He told me two stories about his father. His father, I don't remember his first name, he said, but his father lived in Crown Heights. He was a very talented, tremendously talented person. He was also a Rav in the area, rabbi. People came and asked him questions. But he was also a very down-to-earth person. So it's the story number one. Story number one was that I'll separate these two stories. Story number one was that he was waiting in front of the Rebbe's office for Yechidus. He was waiting in front of the Rebbe's office for Yechidus. Yechidus is that people would go into the Rebbe's office alone with the Rebbe. Now, the Rebbe, I mean, the Rebbe was like Moses. The Rebbe was like, Moses was like on Mount Sinai for 40 days where he didn't eat anything, didn't sleep anything. I mean, the Rebbe is not that he doesn't eat or sleep, but the idea that he's just a totally different type of person from everybody else. And that's why everybody says the Rebbe is the Mashiach. The Rebbe just knew things that just, the whole Torah was just spread out in front of him, everything, but also people's lives. So here's an example. So so this Rabbi Buket was standing in front of the Rebbe's door, waiting to go into Yechidut. People would set a certain day to go in, so they would wait in line. Everybody would be in by the Rebbe a minute, 2 minutes, sometimes 3 minutes. There were some people that were hours. And but that was very rare. Anyway, so he was waiting in front and waiting for the next person to come out of the Rebbe's office. Suddenly the door opens up. Suddenly, someone says, "Let me out." Ran out, slammed the door behind him, ran out of 770. That's the building where the Rebbe is. Ran out the front door, ran down the street, and that's it, ran away. So everybody's looking, what happened? Who was that guy? So, okay. He left. The person left. So Rabbi Buket went in. The Rebbe had sort of a smile on his face, and he put a $100 bill inside of an envelope, and he wrote this fellow's name on it, the one who was just by him, and said, the Rebbe, they put it in front of him, and then he talked to Rabbi Buket. Rabbi Buket had his questions to ask, whatever, gave him blessings, and the Rebbe said, on your way out, go to the secretariat and ask the secretaries for the address of that man that was just in. He lives not far away from you. And give him this envelope from me. Give him the envelope from me. So he said, okay. So he went out, he found the person's address, he went to the person's house, knocked on the door, man opened the door, yes. He said, I'm from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. He said, listen, I didn't mean it, I'm sorry, I didn't, please. He said, no, the Lubavitcher Rebbe wants to give you this. So he opens it up very, in trepidation. He sees there's $100 bill inside. So he said, can I ask you a question? What, I mean, you don't have to answer me, but what was the story? What happened over there? You ran out like you were running away from a fire or something. What happened? So he said, well, I'll tell you the story. He said, I'm having big monetary problems. And it's hard for me to feed my wife and my 2 sons. And so I went around and I asked I got into big debts, whatever it was, he got into debts. And he says, so I went around and I decided I'm going to go begging for money. So I went around to big rabbis and important people, and they gave me donations. But I did a little trick. I thought to myself, listen, 2 people, I have 2 sons. People aren't going to give me money. They say, listen, I have my 2 sons. So I looked in the telephone book and I picked out 10 names from the telephone book, and I put those names down and my wife's name afterwards, and I added 10 sons. Now I have 12 sons. So I went around to people. I said, listen, here's my names of my sons. I'd like a blessing, and I'd also like a donation. And people gave me donations. And so I went to this Rebbe and this Rebbe and this rabbi and this Rav and this Rebbe, and they all gave me nice donations. I figured I'll go to the Lubavitcher. I don't know anything about Lubavitch Rebbe. I don't know. I'd heard he's a very, great rabbi. Give me a nice donation. So I went in and I showed the Rebbe the names. And the Rebbe, I said, listen, I need money for my children. And the Rebbe said, the first two, okay, but who are these other 10? So I realized that the Rebbe realized what was. I grabbed the paper and I ran out the door. I realized that the Rebbe, how do you say, he caught me. He got me. So the Rebbe said, the Rebbe said, oh, I forgot to tell you. I said the Rebbe told Rabbi Buket, said, I wanted to give him this, but he ran out beforehand. So the Rebbe realized what it was, but nevertheless, he didn't, he said, okay, so he added on 10 people, but you still deserve, charity. He gave him the charity. So somehow or other, the Rebbe knew that these 10 people were not his children. And the next story that I'm going to say, that I said I was going to say, I will say, but I'm going to say it on Sunday. Have a good day with Mashiach.
Can you, after the recording, so.
1 minute.